Hello and welcome to another Magic the Gathering video. It's been a little while. I've been away on holiday and sort of attending to other non-magic related stuff. So I'm back again with this time an unboxing of the new Booster Battle Packs. So if anybody was playing Magic last year, they remember that when they released the 2012 core set, they also released this Booster Battle Pack. So they've done the same for the new core set, the new 2013. I'm going to open it up, see what's in it. Just flip it over. So there's two 20 card semi-randomised decks, two 15 card booster packs from 2013, learn to play guide and a rules insert. So anybody that will remember last year's one will remember that the sort of starting 20 card decks that are in here in these packs are two colour. So what there is there's within each pack 5 of each colour of land and 5 of each colour of cards. Let's just open the first one and you'll see what I mean. So there's our booster that goes with it. Okay, let me just have a quick look at this. So this is one of our things. So this just describes the Booster Battle Pack, what you get in here. As I've said, each one of these packs here is two colours, and when you open it you can choose up to 5 out of this, so that gives you a maximum of 25 cards in your deck. You don't have to choose 5, it's sort of up to 5. And there's just a description here about Booster Battle Pack, Pack Wars, which is where this effectively came from, this idea, and Booster Draft. So these packs are very much about getting you into sort of limited booster play, that sort of area of Magic, rather than necessarily constructed. So let's open this up and see what we've got in our sort of pre-constructed component. Whenever you open one of these, obviously there's a finite number of combinations, but you'll find that obviously if you were to open a pack yourself, you might end up with a slightly different combination of these two packs. So we've got Attendant Knight, white, War Falcon. So these are all going to be commons and uncommons probably. Angel's Mercy, Glorious Charge, Crusader of Odric. This looks like it's going to be a very creature based deck. Then we have our planes, so there'll be 5 of those in there. So we've got white-red deck here. Blade Tusk Boar, Trumpet Blast, Volcanic Strength, Krenko's Command, Arms Dealer, here's our uncommon, and then our mountains. So here we have a creature-based deck. Let's just quickly flick back through here because I want to just see how this breaks down. So there's a creature, sorcery, enchantment, instant. It's just so what I've done is just split it into creatures and then other spells, so we can get a better feel for how this, the way this deck is going to perform. So this has got first strike on it, and when it enters the battlefield you put a 1/1 soldier creature token onto the battlefield. We've got a flyer here, so we've got evasion, but it can't attack unless you control a knight or a soldier. A Crusader of Odric, power and toughness equal to the number of creatures you control. Blade Tusk Boar's got intimidate on it, so it can't be blocked by except by artifact creatures and or creatures that share a colour. And then Arms Dealer, so you sacrifice a goblin. Arms Dealer deals 4 damage to target creature for 1 and a red. So you've got removal there. So obviously, in order for that to work, you need some goblins. And in amongst our other cards here, let's see what we've got. So we've got life gain. We've got pump spell, so it gives creatures +1/+1 until end of turn. We have trumpet blast, which gives attacking creatures +2/+0. We've got volcanic strength, which gives an enchanted creature +2/+2, and mountain walk. We've got Krenko's command, so this is where our sackable goblins are going to come from. So this puts 2/1/1 red goblin creature tokens onto the battlefield. So if we wanted to use them for that, then we've got a source for that. So let's now have a look at our actual contents of our booster. So what we're looking for is basically red or white cards or colourless for this deck. So we've got Kindled Fury, which is an instant in red. Target creature gets +1/+0 and gains first strike until end of turn. So that would work in our creature-based deck. Titanic Growth, so that's in green. So for this deck, we're not going to be able to use it. Challenger's Fury, so we've got some useful removal here in red. Deals 4 damage to target player and 1 damage to each creature that player controls. Got another Blade Tusk Boar, also in red. We have a Glorious Charge in white, so we can use this in the deck if we wanted to. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Warclamp Mastiff, it's got first strike on it, 1/1 for 1. Sign in Blood, so we'll put that to one side, that's in black. Bond Beetle is green. Fairy Invaders is blue. Craterize, destroy a target land. Rancor, very good uncommon, but unfortunately we're not playing green, so we won't be able to use this. Enchanted creature gets +2/+0 and has trample, but it's got this useful thing on it where when it's put into the graveyard you can return it to its owner's hand. Next uncommon, Sleep in blue. Clock of Omens, which is colourless, so we could use this in the deck if we wanted to. We get to tap 2 untapped artifacts you control, untap target artifacts. So we're not playing a lot of artifacts, although it's playable, it's not really usable. Our rare here is Boundless Realms, so it's a sorcery, 6 colourless and a green, so no use for us here, but seeing as it's our rare, we'll just go through it. Search your library for up to X basic land cards, where X is the number of lands you control, and put them onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. Just a token style card and a swamp. And so out of that booster pack, Clock of Omens, although we could play it, like I said, it's not really usable, so I'll put that to one side. And out of these we've got some red and white cards. So we've basically got more than 5 here we could pick from. So obviously, as this is a seemingly creature based and creature friendly setup, we would probably want to go for anything that either pumps creatures or gives creatures some extra ability, or is a creature itself. So things like Glorious Charge would be handy. We've got a nice one for 1/1 with first strike there, a creature. Kindled Fury has got a pump on it. There's for some removal here, which if we're I think we're not particularly strong on removal in this deck, so this might be a thing we could use. The Blade Tusk Boar, we've already got a copy of that, so we may not want a second copy. We've got a way of destroying opponent's target land here, so sort of shutting them down slightly, so that may be useful to us. So there's sort of plenty of choice as cards are up to 5 cards we could add in that deck. So that's our first one. So let's look at our second pack. So in this one, same sort of setup. Of course, in this one we would get the how to play guide. So if you've not played Magic before, this is the thing to read. Okay, so straight away we can see one of the colours is green. So we've got a Centre Courser, Vastwood Gorger, Bond Beetle, Fog. Our uncommon in green is Garrick's Pack Leader. And we get all our land, or 5 lands in that colour to be precise. So green-black deck. Servant of Neferox. It's exalted. Crippling Blight. Dark Favour. Tormented Soul. And our uncommon is Dustmantle Prowler. So this has got haste on it, exalted, 3 and a black for a 2/2. So basically the way we're going, we've got a green-black deck here with some exalted creatures in it. And obviously there's all our 5 swamps there, and you can see the artwork's basically from M13, not surprisingly. And so again, I'm just going to go through and just separate these out. So if you've not seen this pack before, you get a better idea of you know, actually what's in here, what removal you possibly could pull out. Just one side. Where are we? Again, not surprisingly, with this sort of setup, heavy creature based. I've only really got 2 support cards here. We've got Fog. Oh, sorry, 3. We've got Fog. So this is going to prevent all combat damage that will be dealt this turn. Remember, with Fog, it prevents all combat damage. So it's both sides of the board. And it's an instant, which means you can play at any time. Crippling Blight. So you can enchant a creature and it gives the enchanted creature -1/-1, and it can't block. So you're effectively locking down a creature. And then Dark Favour, you enchant a creature. When Dark Favour enters the battlefield, you lose 1 life. The enchanted creature gets +3/+1, so it's a black pump spell with a typical sort of black forfeit on it of losing the life to when it comes into play, when it enters the battlefield. Now our creatures, okay, so here we go. Centaur Courser, 3/3 for 2 and a green. Vastwood Gorger. So these are pretty, you know, no extra abilities on either of these 2 cards. 5/6 for 5 and a green. Bond Beetle. So with this, when it enters the battlefield, we get to pump any other creature. Put a +1/+1 counter on it. And that sort of is permanently on there unless it's removed. Garrick's Pack Leader. So you get card draw when another creature with power 3 or greater enters the battlefield. So you can see there's a few creatures in here that fit that criteria that would give you card draw. Servant of Neferox, which is one of our exalted creatures. Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, that creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Tormented Soul, 1/1 for 1, but it can't block, but it's also unblockable. And Dustmantle Prowler, another creature with exalted on it, has haste, so you can attack and tap as soon as it comes under, you know, under your control. So that's 2/2 for 3 and a black. So what we're looking for in our booster obviously is black or green, or again colourless cards to augment this deck. Obviously be interested if this contains any exalted in those colours, it's going to help it, and also whether there's any useful removal in black in here, because that looks like something we're a bit lacking in. So straight away we've got a blue card, so for this particular deck not a lot of use. That's sorry, Archaeomancer, I think that is. Guardians of Akrasa. That does have exalted on it, but it's in white. Red here, Mog Flunkies. Another red card turned to slag. We've got Prey Upon here. So this is one of these sorceries. This has got the fight thing on it. So target creature you control fights target creature you don't control. So each deals damage equal to its power to the other. That's common. So that's a possibility. Glorious Charge in white, so no good in this deck. Murder, so destroy target creature. So we've got some removal in black there, very useful. Definitely want to add that to our deck. Pacifism, so it's a lockdown spell in white, so not a lot of use here. Bountiful Harvest, it's going to give us life gain for each land you control. We've got a Ravenous Rats, so this is useful. This is a discard spell when it enters a battlefield, or it triggers a discard component when it enters the battlefield, and you can get your target opponent to discard a card, which is obviously going to be useful in decks where there's only potentially 25 cards in them. So we got that. Our first uncommon, Veilborn Ghoul. So it can't block, and whenever a swamp enters the battlefield under your control, you may return Veilborn Ghoul from the graveyard to your hand. So we've got some graveyard stuff going on here. We'd have to sort of appraise that in terms of is it a powerful enough creature to play, even though the deck isn't really, isn't a graveyard based deck. Sleep in blue. Fog Blank in blue. Elvish Archdruid is our green, so it's a nice rare here. 1 and 2 green for a 2/2. Other elf creatures you control get +1/+1. Add green to your mana pool for each elf you control. So of course that's based on, do we have any elves in our deck? So we'll go back through in a moment and just check that. And an island in blue. Now obviously another trick you could do with this deck, but I don't think it would be, what's the word I'm looking for, is obviously use the land card that you get in your booster to splash a colour, but it's probably not advisable with just a single colour within this deck. Even though the deck's quite small, I think you would probably just end up getting sort of colour screwed for the thing you were trying to splash, but that is a possibility. So what have we got here? We've got green and black. We actually have 6 cards here in green and black. So the maximum we can put in is 5. So I suppose you have to decide, is it worth putting a card in, or is it worth putting nothing in? So if all the cards were completely awful, you had a choice on, you might be better off like not putting any of them in. In that way you wouldn't be watering down the good cards that are already there. So that's what we've got. Let's have a quick look through, because I was just going to see whether our Elvish Archdruid would be any good to us. And that's going to basically be no good to us if there's no elves in the deck. And there's no elves in the deck. Yeah, and it says other elf creatures as well, so it can't pump itself. Although it would give us a green mana source if we tapped it. So tap, add 1 green to your mana pool for each elf you control, and this would be, so this one, it does have an effect on itself. So that's what we got in the pack. I mean, I've played the previous one of this, and it was good fun. You've got basically 2 booster each in here, so you could pull some interesting stuff. The actual pre-constructive components not that amazing, but there's certainly some usable cards in here. So it's a fun product, but I wouldn't. It's not something I'd be buying loads of, put it that way. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed the sort of pull apart of this particular product. Bye for now.